Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Sunday, May the 15th, 2022. And I would like to, and then all the great baseball, we said, you know what? Let's do a combo podcast. So if you're here for baseball, we're doing our MLB podcast, and we're going to just run it right into the NBA podcast. We'll put a timestamp on there. If you're going to play both, then boom, you've got one stop for both sports. So, Crash, how are you today? Are you ready for this exciting sports day for DFS? And then, of course, your Game 7 for the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for that. It's one of those things where I've been nervous, but I'm excited, and it's going to be fun. And then I'll be watching the Brewers hopefully beat the Marlins in the game before that. So.
Yeah, hopefully. And I, of course, have the Reverse Jinx shirt. Deb couldn't make the podcast today because she's going to Game 7 and she's got a bunch of stuff going on. So I'd let her know, though, it was not going to stop me from pulling out the shirt. It worked for Game 6 for the Mavs, and now we're going to try to get it to work for Game 7. So we hope everybody enjoys this dual podcast. I'm not sure I've seen too many of these in the industry. So please let us know what you think. If you like it, if it's something you're interested in the future, if it's something that's not of interest to you. But again, we'll timestamp it. So you just watch the baseball one or the basketball one, if that's all that you want to watch. But we thought it would be a lot of fun, and we're excited to go over it. So on your way in here, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. That means a ton to us. Hit the little subscribe button there and the alarm in the upper corner that lets you know when any of our podcasts post. That would be super important to us. And I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Prizepicks. And we'll have Prizepicks selections in this podcast for both baseball and basketball. If you haven't signed up for Prizepicks yet, this is the time. Go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code CoachTalk, and they will match you dollar for dollar all the way up to $100 on that first deposit. All right, Crash, the Dual Sports, the famous May 15th Dual Sports podcast. We are going to start with Major League Baseball. Why don't you set the scene for us there? Have you had a chance to look at what it looks like our main slates here, and also I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at the weather to see if we had any issues there.
Yeah, it looks like I just got a report a second ago. There's going to be a little bit of rain in the White Sox-Yankees game, but they should play no problem. Not really seeing any other rain issues on this slate, thank God. So we've got 10 games on the main slate on FanDuel and 8 games on Draftkings. Now, Draftkings doesn't have the Boston, Texas, and Kansas City, Colorado games. So those are two pretty important games, in my opinion.
Stacked games, yeah.
Of course, obviously, and then with the hot weather in Texas, I think that's a key game too. So that's pretty important that DraftKings doesn't have those, but hopefully that can help lower the ownership and we can get a less chalky slate on DraftKings.
Okay, excellent. All right.
That starts at 1:35 Eastern.
1:35 Eastern's the main slate lock. Yeah, absolutely. And then there's the single game tonight if you want to play that one in the evening, but no sense in playing that because the Mavs Suns game is going to be on.
Exactly. Who wants to watch some, Sunday night baseball when you can watch Game 7?
Although we've got our Major League Baseball audience tuned in too. So, hey, there are purists that are just baseball guys. and gals. All right, let's dive into this sucker. We're going to do our main baseball podcast that we always do, where we touch on pitchers, prize picks, BVP stacks, and HR. We'll give you some of our top plays, some of our fades. We had some solid picks yesterday, but wasn't it, for me at least anyway, I wasn't able to put all the pieces together, get the right combination. So I'm looking for a bounce back today. Hopefully we give out some great winners. Why don't you start us off with your pay up pitcher for the day?
I'm going to go with Alek Manoah, 10,000 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DraftKings. In 4 starts against Tampa last year, he had 10, 9, 10, and 7 strikeouts and never allowed more than 2 runs with 2 shutouts. So Tampa Bay has the 10th highest strikeout rate this year. and I think that he'll be lower owned than Justin Verlander. And I like him more than Nestor Cortez, who's coming off a career game. And unfortunately, Brandon Woodruff of my Brewers has been struggling so far this season. So I like him more than Woodruff as well. So Manoah will be my top pitcher play on this slate.
And you know what? Alex Manoah is my top pitcher play as well. So we agree completely there. 175 ERA, 0.89 whip, 35 Ks already. Again, as you said, Rays strike out a lot. I actually have him as 9th. I think I updated.
Yeah, they may have went up. Yeah.
They went from 10th to 9th. Yeah. So when you got a top 10 strikeout team, just, I like Manoah here in this game. I think he can step it up, and I feel good about the innings and the Ks. So good that we agree there. How about your mid-level value pitcher?
My value pitcher is going to be Tariq Skubal. He's 9,300 on FanDuel, but he's 6,000 on DraftKings.
Doesn't make sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. $3,300.
I mean, it's a free square for 6K.
Yeah, especially going up against Baltimore, who they've been striking out at such a high rate. He's 6K. I mean, he should be the highest owned player on the DraftKings site.
Yeah, I mean, you have to eat that chalk. There's just no doubt about it. I was going to mention it too.
Yeah,
but I have no interest in him for 93.
Yeah, for 93, no. But I mean, 6,000 though, that's just ridiculous.
Free square.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my value pitcher. I mean, it was given to me. So
yeah, and I'll definitely use them on that site. The other sites though, I'm looking at it. It might be a controversial pick because I did fade him last time. I didn't like the matchup as much, and it's Joe Ryan, and he had 3 phenomenal starts, and now 2 starts in a row he's got dinged around a little bit. Yeah, but I like this matchup better. I think he'll settle back in. His price is right. So, where we don't get the free square and Skubal, I'll be plugging in Joe Ryan. I think maybe even if he doesn't smash it as an SP2, I feel good that he'll get some innings in and at least get it done. And we were just talking about it before the podcast. Really, if you want to cash well in some of these single entry or even the GPP plays, you really need to have a stud pitcher and at least a pitcher that performs decently and then hit some home runs, because if you're missing one of those 3 pieces, it's hard to cash. It's really competitive. And, even if you have the other day, I barely cashed and I hit 6 homers and had a good pitcher. My second pitcher didn't step up and it almost cost me. So, I'm starting to think, it's my trend lately is trying to find the SP2 that's not going to maybe smash the slate, but has less risk, that you think will get good 5 or 6 innings in, scatter some strikeouts in there. I mean, it's the nature of the beast in DFS MLB is you have to get those pitching numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, fade pitcher, my friend.
My fade pitcher is going to be Michael Kopech. He's 9,200 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DraftKings. He is coming off his best start of the year against the Guardians, but I think he could be in some trouble against the Yankees. Who
isn't in trouble against the Yankees?
Well, apparently Dallas Keuchel, because my gosh, he somehow avoided all that lineup. So
I couldn't believe that, man. That was one of the more bizarre things of the year so far for me.
Yeah. And so, they're coming off a tough loss. They have a few guys that have seen him before. Connor Falefa has 3 hits and 3 at-bats against him. Gleyber Torres has 1 at-bat. It was a home run. Josh Donaldson has a home run and 2 at-bats. And Judge, Stanton, and LeMahieu and Rizzo have never faced him before. So not a lot to lean on there. But I just think that with them coming off a loss, they're going to be ticked off. And I think it's going to be a rough day for Kopech. Yeah,
I mean, I think Kopech's got some good stuff, but that is a nightmare matchup. But like you said in baseball, I mean, Keuchel, that's a hard one to take.
Right.
I'm almost embarrassed to say, because I think everybody's going to fade him anyway, but you should. In case you're thinking about throwing him in there, for anybody that remembers that Patrick Corbin can pitch well at times, just fade him. He's 0-5 with a 6.06 ERA. Just there's no reason to play him. I think he's in a bad spot here. I don't know how long he'll last. Yeah. This is one of those kind of guys that you're going to see shows up on the IL here pretty soon with some kind of soreness or made up stiffness or whatever you
Right.
want to call it.
Yeah.
But, if you did have any, gandering of, can I try Corbin and slide him in as an SP2? I would say fade him completely. I know it's no hot take, so you don't have to hit me up on Twitter and say, wow, way to get out on a limb, coach.
Right.
But just in case somebody has a flashback of the Corbin of old, don't do it.
Right. I mean, we got it right yesterday with Urias, obviously his career worst game. So giving up.
We did, although I was dead ass wrong with the old man Charlie Morton.
Oh man, yeah.
He was striking out the guys in the stands, for God's sake.
It was crazy.
I turned around and he went from 2 strikeouts to 7 in like minutes.
Yeah,
amazing. So hey, you know what? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
It's baseball for you.
Great call on Urias, though, and I agreed too. That was one of our, not that he was that high owned, but
right, he wasn't.
It's Dodgers, it's late game. People think, well, sneak him in there. You got to avoid those disasters because minus numbers, you're dead.
Right, and it was a lot of the lefties too, which a lot of people don't think lefty, but the lefties definitely hit him up. So,
yep.
All right, let's go on to Prize Picks.
Prize Picks. Can I just go ahead and say I'm taking Patrick Corbin under 15.5? That's my number there. I don't think he gets through 5 1/3 innings.
Yeah. So I've got Bryce Harper, which no hot take here, over 7.5 fantasy score, going against Michael Grove, who's making his Major League Baseball debut. Good luck.
Welcome to the bigs.
Yeah. Good luck against that lineup.
Yeah, he'll be high on, but he's high expense on DFS. But I think I agree with he's a great play on Prize Picks. Yeah. I'm going right to Alex Manoah over 18. I think he gets into the 7th inning. I think he gets plenty of outs here. So 18 outs for Mr. Alex Manoah.
Okay. I've got Shohei Ohtani over 7 fantasy score. He's got 6 hits and 18 at bats against Frankie Montas, including 2 home runs. So I like the over there.
You're over your salary allocation. Ohtani. I'm back. This is a guy he's gotten it done for me. I think this is the 3rd time I've had him as one of my key plays on Prize Picks. But I'm going Trey Mancini over 6 fantasy points hitting. I think he and a couple of the other Hayes and a few guys go deep. I like sneaky little Baltimore stack in there.
I like that.
I know it's against somebody that is only $6,000 that we talked about, but
right,
we'll see.
No, that's okay. So you've got 3, is that right?
I did. I pulled an extra one. You don't have to pull an extra one if you don't want to. I like both pitching sides so much, and I always try to throw a hitter in there. So I just wanted to throw a bonus in.
I'll take Kyle Wright over 5 strikeouts. I think he can get over that number.
He could bounce back here.
I mean, if Charlie Morton can do it.
Yeah, I mean, there are no Morton and Keuchel, but maybe we can get. All right, excellent. Let's move on to BVP.
BVP is going to be Starling Marte. He's 3,400 on FanDuel, 5,000 on DraftKings. 350 with 7 hits and 20 at bats against Robbie Ray, 4 singles, a double, a triple, and a home run. So that would be a cycle if he did it all in one game. So
really, you mean like Mr.
Christian Yelich?
Yeah.
Do
you know that I read something? He's the first guy to do it
3 times.
3 times, but there was
against
another
the same team, I think.
Right. It was something odd like that. There was somebody like 1,800 and something had done it like that, but absolutely awesome. My BVP, I'm sticking with, let's see here. I switched it at the last minute. Oh, it's Tim Anderson against Cortez. I think, he's shown he can hit him, batting 400 against him. I'm a big Tim Anderson guy. I think Cortez, I don't think he's, a solid SP1 today. I think he's going to get, this game's going to have some runs in it. And I think Anderson's usually the straw that stirs that drink. So I'm going Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I like some of those White Sox bats today.
Stacks?
Stacks. Okay, so obviously we have the Rockies against Daniel Lynch and Coors. We have the Yankees against Michael Kopech. I like Toronto against Jeff Springs and the Tampa Bay bullpen.
Okay.
And I also, as a GPP stack, I like the lefties for the Pirates against Hunter Green. The lefties from the Brewers got to him really, strong recently. And I kind of see these power hitters like Vogelback and Josh Van Meter and Sawinski, this young kid that they've got that can get him pretty good. They're lefties. So I like those guys. They're probably not going to see hardly any ownership, but I like them.
No, I think that's a smart play. There are a couple that I like. I'm not gonna be heavy stacking like 4 or 5 mans today. I know that is the way to go. And if you're playing 150 lineups, you've got to have some combinations of that. But in hand building, I'm gonna move around a little bit on this slate. I think the Phillies against the rookie Grove, I think are a nice little stack. They can get hot and really string some hits together. As much as Arizona can be hit or miss, I like them against the Cubs today and Justin Steele. I think there's enough Arizona righties in that lineup that can cause some trouble. Of course, everybody's going to be diving on Colorado, and rightfully so. It makes perfect sense. So however, how many Colorado players you can get to, I think is smart, and it's going to be chalky, but it may be very necessary. But I'm going to play 2 little mini stacks that I don't think are going to get, super low single digits ownership here. And I like a stretch of a couple of the righties for Baltimore. I like Mancini, Santander, Hayes, that little group in the middle, I think can be sneaky. Now, playing against Skubal, I'll probably play that Baltimore stack on FanDuel where I don't use Skubal. Where is he cheapest? The 6
Draftkings. He's 6,000. Yeah.
So I'll use the stack on FanDuel, but not on DraftKings. And then you mentioned the little mini stack that I think they're going to score runs today, and that's the Pirates.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of good sticks there, like you said, to start off with Gamble and Hayes, Reynolds, from the left-hand side. And then in the middle, you have Vogelbach and Setsugo, Sawinski, and they've got a lot of lefties, and I think they'll score some runs on Green today.
And I also like, I didn't mention them, the Rangers against the bullpen guy from Boston. I can't remember his name, but it's going to be 95 degrees when that game starts.
Tanner Houck?
No, I don't think it's Tanner Houck.
Okay. Oh, he's not he's the primary. He may not throw the first inning or two. Is that what you're saying?
Is that what they're doing? They're using the opener?
I think they're using an opener.
Okay.
My understanding is
Houck. I'm going to look at that because that would change it for me.
Because Houck's going to be the primary, I believe.
Yeah, Houck's been a decent pitcher, so that would change it for me.
Okay.
A little bit.
So double check that one for sure.
I'm checking it right now.
While you're doing that,
you're right. Houck is going to be their guy. I'll stick with it. I think in that heat, and they do have some bats, some lefties that can hit him. So
the question is, are they going to have the roof open or closed? That's something we'll check.
Yeah.
Because when it does get in the 90s, a lot of times that's the whole reason they built that park. Because I've sat in that sun in the 90s and hundreds in Texas, and it's tough.
Yeah.
So a lot of times if it gets that warm, which it is in Texas, they'll close it and make it a nice, 71 degrees and everybody's happy. So stay in touch with us on Discord, and we'll follow that. We'll make sure that pitching rotation that Boston's going to use with the opener and then Houck, and then the ceiling closed or open, we'll make sure that we get that done.
Yeah.
All right, HR call, man. I'm going with a weird one. I think Carrasco's going to give up a few bombs. That's one guy that I thought about using as a fade pitcher, but I decided to go elsewhere. But I think Seattle is going to hit him up a little bit. And my home run call on is Eugenio Suarez from Seattle.
All right. I was going to go with Starling Marte against Robbie Race on the flip side of that game, but I'm going to go with Daniel Vogelbach against Hunter Green. I think that he's got a similar swing to Rowdy Tellez, who really gave him problems. And so I like Vogelbach to hit a home run today.
Yeah, he hit one yesterday way over the fence, went up on the A at the very top of the Pirates. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. He's got some pop.
For sure.
All right, man. Anything else
here? Yeah.
What's that?
So I guess we'll switch hats here and switch over to our NBA podcast.
Yeah. Anything else with baseball that you can think of?
No, I think we covered it pretty well. Well, like you said, we'll have to check and see if that roof's going to be open or not in Texas. But
yeah, we'll double check it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Well, that wraps up our MLB DFS podcast and prize picks of the day. And now, for the first time ever, we're going to transition right into DFS Coach Talk's NBA podcast. So I hesitated enough. We can put the timestamp in there. And if you're joining us for NBA action, you just get 2 game 7s that mean everything today.
Right.
And are like the most exciting thing in sports. Game 7s in the NBA you cannot have more intensity than in these 2 games. So super excited for that. I first want to thank our presenting sponsor, Prizepicks, for our baseball podcast. Go to prizepicks.com, hit that promo code Coach Talk, and then you get dollar for dollar match on your first $100 deposit. Our NBA podcast today is going to be sponsored by betus.com.pa. If you're looking to wager on anything, and you name it, you can wager on it. I've been there 16 years. Great company, great organization. Just go to betus.com.pa, sign up with a minimum first deposit of $79, and then you get a free 1-month membership to DFS Coach Talk. That's a $75 value in itself. So it's basically like getting a free roll on BetUS. And just make sure you use that promo code Coach Talk. I think you'll definitely love it. All right, man, no further ado. Here we go into the breakdown that are the 2 biggest games in our NBA seasons. That's Crash and I. And if you're just joining us for the basketball part of this, I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. And the gentleman next to me here is Josh Crash Davis, Bucks fan, Mavs fan, Game 7s, the reverse jinx orange shirt. He's got the Fear the Deer hat. Dirk's up here behind me cheering and yelling. We got everything ready to go. Yeah. So I've been sending Deb that, the Lion King where the lion holds up the cub with Dirk holding up Luca. So we're bringing out everything we can here for this.
Yeah. We need all the help we can get. Yeah,
exactly. So we've got 2 intense games. The first game, it's an afternoon game at 3:30. It's the Milwaukee Bucks at the Boston Celtics. It is Boston -5, and it's a 206.5 total. So I'll let you know in the second game, Phoenix is favored by 6.5, and it's a 205 total. So in essence, you can throw everything out the window on spreads and totals. It doesn't matter because everything's equal here, basically. There's a little bit of a smidge difference. I mean, it's incredible, though. You've got the implied total for Boston, 105.75. In the second game, you have the implied total for Phoenix at the exact 105.75. But the implied total for the Bucks, 100.75, and Dallas, 99.25. So if there's anything you can tell from these numbers at all, it would slight edge Boston and Phoenix, maybe that extra guy if you're between a Celtic or Sun versus a Mavericks or Buck. You may want to go the Celtic Sun side. But other than that, it's pretty much a free-for-all,
Definitely.
Injury-wise, Chris Middleton remains out. Hauser out for Boston. Robert Williams listed as questionable. So that's the first question I want to ask you in this mix. Any expectations with Williams for you?
Let me check real quick because I have.
before the pod, I checked everywhere and it was questionable, game time decision, questionable. So it is out there. It is an interesting question, and it's an important question.
Mm-hmm. It says he's upgraded to questionable. Was he not? I thought he was questionable already.
When he very first was put on there, he was listed as doubtful, and then early yesterday they moved him to questionable. Okay. So I don't know if we're going to have that answer, is what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
And so that's something we're going to have to follow, because it makes a big difference on that rotation in the interior for Boston.
Right. Definitely does. I mean, I would think he would play, but with it being a game 7, but we'll have to find out what they decide.
Well, let's dive into
not going to play, which I was hoping he could. But
yeah, let's dive into the Boston side. I'll give you a quick gander at the stats from the last game. We know Tatum went out of his mind, 17 for 32, shot 53%, hit 7 threes, had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a block. So it was the Tatum and Giannis show. Yeah. Is it going to be the Tatum and Giannis show again is the question. Grant Williams, for the second game in a row, goose egg from the field. So whether Robert Williams plays or not, Grant Williams is officially dead to me as the coach of DFS Coach Talk. So Grant, take your bags, pack them, go to Cancun early, leave us alone. After that, how about the Al Horford deal? We both called it. We said Milwaukee's going to play their defense around Al here. He went 1 for 6 from the field in 38 minutes.
Yeah, so he scored 2 points.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart over 40 minutes each, Jason Tatum 42. Basically, it was those 3 guys or bust. And then you had Derek White, the only other guy of any substance here, but he's made a statement in these last 2 games. He didn't blow up the stat sheet, but he played almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So at his price, I'll let you break up Boston now. Give us your feed. It seems like White might be the value play we were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Derek White as a value option. Marcus Smart, I feel like he's going to cool off soon. I mean, he's been red hot. He was 5 of 9 from 3.
Yeah.
And 8 of 16 in game 6 with 21 points, 5 rebounds and 7 assists for 40 DraftKings points. I don't see him doing that again. Horford, even though he only had 2 points, he had I think 4 blocks and a couple steals. He still had over 30 DraftKings points. So it's not like he had a terrible game.
Right.
So I did want to mention that. Jaylen Brown, I think that he's in a good spot. I think he could have a really nice game today. He's 8,500 on FanDuel, 8,300 on DraftKings. We're going to have to choose basically between on DraftKings, they're very similar price between him, Holiday, and Booker and Chris Paul. They're all right around the same price. So one of those guys, I think. And then Tatum, I mean, for me, I'd rather just pay up for Giannis. I know he's 1,000 more on FanDuel and I think 2,000 more on DraftKings. But I don't expect Tatum to have almost 70 fantasy points in this game. I think he's going to be somewhere around 50 to 55, maybe more. But I think Milwaukee's going to make some adjustments like they did with Horford and try and slow Tatum down. And I think that he's going to be a strong play, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that I want to pay up for when you have a slate with Giannis and Luka Doncic. So,
yeah, this is the toughest. I tried to build a lineup before the podcast, and I got to the point where I said, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do."
Yeah, it's tough.
I know that's not what you want to hear. You've tuned in to listen to expertise here, but I'm just being honest. I mean, this is so hard today because the salaries are so high.
Yeah. Yeah. I took I think literally 2 hours last night building lineups. So it was tough.
It is. I mean, you've got to leave off some superstars that could take down the slate. I mean, it's that simple. So, I mean, if anything, maybe this, at least for me, you may have some more definitive picks, but this hopefully gives you some good feel and some good talking points and helps you make decisions. But if you listen to us daily, I'm very definitive in my picks. I'll say, I love this guy. This guy's 100% fade. Why would you not take these 2 guys and build around him? it is a different scenario for me today because, with the higher price guys, starting with Giannis and Luka, how do you leave one of those guys off? It's like, but if you take them both, then nobody else at all, like Tatum's and Paul's and Booker's and Brown's, you can't take any of them really. So it really comes down to build today. So again, I'm not trying to dodge anybody I love or hate as we're talking about these games. I think it's one of the tougher builds of the season, the way that it's come down to. And then in an elimination game, you're going to have a lot of guys play 40 plus minutes because this is it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I would strongly recommend if you can if you're going to go with not the Luka, Giannis builds or just one of them, without question, Tatum and Brown. I mean, playing one of the two, we've talked about it since the beginning of the year. One of the two is generally going to go off to some extent. They're the two first and second options on every play for them. If you want to go down one notch, I think Horford and Smart are both very good plays. I think Horford is going to get the minutes, and he's not going to just make one basket again. So there is some upside there with Horford. I sort of like him, but his price has gone up. I agree with you that Smart regresses, but who's more of a bulldog than Smart in an elimination game in Boston?
Right.
So, I mean, he's very tempting. And then, of course, White as the value play, they seem to really trusted in him as, the fifth guy on the court a lot of the time. They've gone small and they've gone a few different lineups. And then the wild card in all this crash is, what the hell? What if Robert Williams does play?
Yeah.
Now you've got a whole nother entity.
And let me ask you this. Do you think if he does play, that would actually hurt Boston because of the way their rhythm is and everything? Offensively?
He's such a great interior defender and a finisher and shot blocker. I mean, I don't think it would hurt them, but I don't think it's going to be a difference maker because I think what he brings them defensively on the interior and his ability to leap and finish, he's obviously not going to be, if he does play, it's not going to be at 100%.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't let it shift a ton, but I agree with you that it may take a little bit away of that small lineup with Horford, Tatum, Brown, Smart, and White. And that rhythm, I think, scares Milwaukee a little bit. So, it's sort of a wash if he plays or not, but it does, I don't think I'd go with Horford if Robert Williams plays just because even if he gets that 20 or 22 minutes or whatever they try to squeal out of him there, I think it would take enough away rebounding and stuff from Horford. And it may make the difference. I know it sounds silly, but it may make the difference between Brown or Tatum for me because Tatum tends to rebound better when Robert Williams isn't in the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So follow that closely because there's a lot of decisions to be made there.
Yeah, where it could affect the game, though, I was just thinking about this, is it could affect Bobby Portis on the other side if Williams plays because he's a more, Williams is a younger, more energetic, more athletic guy.
Right.
That could keep up with Bobby more. So
do you think that would cause a ripple effect for maybe Portis to get more minutes over Lopez?
Maybe. I mean, Portis has been getting more minutes lately anyway, but in the last two games anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, good. So we have to follow that closely. Again, we'll be in Discord. Come and join us, dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up for as little as a 3-day pass for $10. Come and join us. We'll be breaking this stuff down all the way until tip. And we'll be posting full lineups for FanDuel and Yahoo, Coach's Clipboard, or for this, probably the main starting 5 lineups on DraftKings. All of that will be posted for you as well. All right, let's move to your Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm not even going to talk at all. I'm just going to let you break the Bucks down for us, and then I'll chirp in at the end.
Okay. So obviously Giannis is 12,000 on both sites. I'm not sure exactly how much he's going to have left in the tank by the end of this game, but I do know that he's going to leave it all on the floor. He's the top play on the slate for me. I don't see how you could fade him in any format. He's going to have if he has a bad game, quote unquote, he's going to have, 60 fantasy points, which is going to be close to the top play on the slate anyway. So
I agree.
And
he had a smooth 80 the last time.
Yeah, he had 80 last time. I don't expect 80, but somewhere, somewhere around 60, 65, somewhere around there is kind of what I expect from him. And then Holiday, he's been playing well in Boston. He had 50 fantasy points in game 1 and 53 in game 5. And so I think that he's a strong play. He had his worst game of the series in game 6, and I think he bounces back. He did go 7 of 17 from the field, but he only had 2 rebounds and 4 assists. So he didn't have those peripherals that he had been getting earlier in the series. So Holiday is, like I said, it's between him, Booker, and Jaylen Brown. They're all priced about the same. So you got to choose there. I like Bobby Portis. He's only 5,000 on DraftKings. I like that price. They're going to have somebody step up as the third guy. He's one of the top candidates. And the other guy for me is Pat Connaughton, 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,400 on DraftKings. He played 33 minutes in game 6, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. And I think he's actually going to be put in the starting lineup.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to be in the starting lineup. I think they're going to take Grayson Allen out. Allen's minutes have been trending down, and he played the least amount of minutes he's played in the series in the last game with only 22. So I think that Pat Connaughton's going to move into the starting lineup. That's what I think is going to be their move that they make adjustment-wise. So,
well, if Robert Williams starts, though, let's just say he's back and it's Williams and Horford. I'm thinking they'd go to Portis again.
Yeah, if Williams starts, I think they probably would go to Portis, but they still could do let me think about this. They could put Holiday and then Connaughton and Giannis and Portis and Lopez.
But then that means if Lopez guards Horford, then Connaughton's going to have to guard Williams or vice versa, which would be a little tough. Okay. So I think that's something we want to watch.
So then they would have Wesley Matthews then, and they would have Giannis and Portis.
Yeah.
So they could still do that. I mean, they could do it. Connaughton to shooting guard. I don't think that's a big, stretch.
The only concern I'd have with Coach Bud is he's used Connaughton mid-30s throughout this series and for most of the year coming off the bench. Sometimes you don't want to screw up the guy's mojo,
Yeah, sometimes that is the case. But Grayson Allen's actually played better off the bench, so I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see.
I'll say this, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Don't play Wesley Matthews, Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen, George Hill. Just don't play those guys. I don't see how you play them. I mean, they combined for like 6 buckets the last game and just chewed up a lot of wasted time on the floor, in my opinion.
Well, I will say this for Wesley Matthews. I think he'll be on the floor a lot. He's pretty much been the best defender against Tatum. They were able to match up Tatum with Grayson Allen and George Hill a lot in game 6. And I think Wesley Matthews will be on him. And I think Drew Holiday will be on him in this game. So I do think at 3,400 on DraftKings, he's one of the only guys that I even remotely consider in that price range. I mean, a lot of the guys in that price range on DraftKings are not even playing any minutes at all. So he is a value option for me just because the pricing on this slate is so tough that I think you need a guy like that to make some of the lineups work. But
I mean, I'm with you on Giannis. I mean, I just, you can hit the record button from game 1 to game 7. Or, playback. And I say the same thing every single time. How do you not start with with Giannis? Last game, I said, if you want to chase 75 to 80 DFS points, go for it. Well, I didn't think he'd really score 80, but he did. So you could go back and listen to it. And again, do you want to chase 70 to 75? Maybe you do with Luka, but I don't know. I think Giannis is the top play on the slate. Eat the cash. He should be 13-6 or 13-8 the way he dominates. So I'm starting every lineup with Giannis. The only decision for me in this game is, do I sacrifice a key play in the next game to take Drew Holiday? Because what has really become apparent here is, and it wasn't like this last year, and that's why I think Milwaukee may be in trouble. And I hate to say that to you because I think the Mavs may be in trouble too, but Giannis and Holiday are pretty much a two-man show. I mean, I know that they're getting a little bit from Portis off the bench and Connaughton off the bench. And those guys are the two options for the cheap value play.
Yeah.
But I mean, every big shot, every big penetration to the hoop or jump, even mid-range shot, it's Giannis and Holiday every single time. And it seemed like it was spread out more last year. You'd get DiVincenzo contributing. You'd have Brook Lopez playing at a different level than he is now.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of guys stepping up. But that's what makes me almost want to say, I want to try to get Giannis and Holiday in there and just take those two and expect. I mean, they combined for 48 shots this time. They've combined for over 50 shots multiple times in the series. And if Milwaukee is going to stay in this game and have a chance to win it, both of those guys are going to have big games.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much count on 100 fantasy points between the two of them, I think. So.
Well, if I'm going to play both, I need 125.
Yeah.
I need a 75-50. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Or 80-45 or 70-55, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think they can get that. But that's the big decision. And if I didn't go with Holiday, it would be either Connaughton or Portis for me. All right, man, that's it. Let's go to second game on the slate. Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns. It's an 8 p.m. Eastern game. Again, Phoenix favored by 6.5, 205 total, 99.25 implied for Dallas, 105.75 for the Phoenix Suns. Nobody out for Phoenix. Hardaway remains out for Dallas. So everybody's in. Same scenario that we had before. And let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. So my one and major question to you, can you feasibly build a lineup with Giannis and Luka that's going to be at least competitive?
Yeah, I did it last night. I did it.
And you feel okay about it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because and which site were you able to do that on, or multiple?
I think I actually did it on Draftkings, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'm just saying because I in messing with it.
No, it was FanDuel. I don't think I could do it on Draftkings.
Right. That's what I thought, because I couldn't do it on Draftkings or Yahoo and feel like I had a chance. Now, maybe on FanDuel you can squeal it by barely, but that's going to be the brutal thing for me because I'm starting with Giannis and I just don't know if I can get to Luka. Now, if anybody can do it and feel good about their build, I mean, have you remembered a 2-game slate where there's ever been 2 more dominant players?
No. And that's what I was going to say is we haven't had during the playoffs, we haven't had the situation where Giannis and they used to play on different days.
Correct.
So when they play on the same day, it makes it really tough. It really does.
It really does. I mean, I think the optimal, and this is what I think. If you're playing, big tournaments and looking for big takedowns, your optimal, in my opinion, is going to have Giannis and Luka, and you just happen to pick the best value guys that perform. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I have a little bit of concerns about Luka, and the reason why is because in games 2 through 5, he had 52.8, 59.8, 57.3, and 51.3. None of those are going to be good enough. He's going to have 65 to 70 if you're going to pay off having him and Giannis in the same lineup.
Yeah.
Or more. Because, Giannis is $12K. He's 11.6. I mean, there's just not a lot of salary left if you do that. So that's my thinking with that. I actually like Devin Booker, I think, more than Luka. I think
this podcast is over.
I think this is going to be his defining moment, one of his defining moments of his career in this game. So,
and he's still a baby, dude. He's like 22, 23 years old. He's a baby. Right. I hate to say it, but if I had to turn my lineup in at this moment, it probably wouldn't have Luka. I'd probably have Giannis, and that's devastating because if Dallas wins, it is going to have to be one of those heroic 70-some fantasy point gains from Luka.
Right.
And you know what? I mean, I wouldn't put anything past the kid. Every time I've said, well, there's no way he can accomplish that or accomplish this. He's had more 25-point real point games in a row than any other player in playoff history other than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And it's so hard for me to fade him. But if he hadn't had such a big game in game 6, I think I'd feel better about it.
They got an extra day rest.
Yeah, they did get an extra day of rest. That's true. But, it's just with Giannis, I mean, he's so active. He's always getting rebounds and blocks and steals. And I mean,
I think he's the better play.
Yeah.
The question is, can you sacrifice to make him Luka the second? I think that's the decision everybody has to make. I mean, you have to start with Giannis. Can you build with Luka to get a good enough lineup? Or on the places you can't, can you find the next guy after Luka, whether it be the Tatum or Paul or Booker or Holiday or, I don't know. But finding a combination of those guys to fill in to get to that number is going to be the key. But
yeah,
I will have probably both sides of that, the Giannis, Luka, and value plays, and then the Giannis and going down to, get the Booker or whomever. Now, I'm not going to go. Well, we'll talk about Phoenix when we get there. So let me give you my take on Dallas. I mean, Bullock was phenomenal for me last time. He finally hit threes, and it was funny because I called Dawson, and Bullock was like 0 for 4 from 3. And I was like, he's killing us. If he doesn't make threes, we're done. And then he drains 5 threes, makes 7 shots, and gets 19 real points. Now, is that, feasible? I mean, it is because he's a streak shooter. So I don't think he's a bad play at all at over 40 minutes. I will say the guy that I think you got to put a star by, though, is Dorian Finney-Smith. He'll get 45 minutes in this game. He only played 25 last game. Everybody's going to say, wow, what a terrible game. Well, he had foul trouble, and it was just a terrible game for him. I think he's a nice play for value.
Yeah.
Do not, like I've said all series, do not play Dwight Powell. Brunson, of course, he's the guy that's he's the guy that has to help Luka. I mean, he has to make more than 6 shots. He only had 1 rebound, 2 assists. It was a bad game for Brunson. I think he bounces back here. And let's face it, if Dallas has a chance here, not only is Luka going to have his, game that really statement game, Brunson's going to have to also go alongside of him. The third guy I think in the mix, I still am backing Maxi Kleber. I know, he had 3 threes, but only played 25 minutes. I think you're going to see him play like 35, 38 minutes. It's all in here. I think he's a good backup. I wouldn't go beyond that, though. Dinwiddie, I know he's cheap. He did make some important shots in that game, but I just don't see him getting enough minutes because Luka and Brunson are going to be out there an absolute load. Don't play Bertans, don't play Ntilikina. So it really comes down to, Luka, of course. And then after that, if you can afford Brunson, if not, you want to go cheaper, you've got the Bullock, Finney-Smith option, or one that I prefer, Maxi Kleber.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Dinwiddie was 5 of 7 from 3 in that last game, in game 6. But before that, I mean, Phoenix had really held him in check.
Yeah,
so.
He only played 20 minutes, too.
Yeah, exactly. So I had the same guys. I had Finney-Smith, Kleber, Brunson, and Luka. So, yeah.
All right, let's go to the Suns, man. Let's talk them down. Where's Deb? You're not here to defend this. Reverse Jinx orange, down with the orange.
All right, so I'll start with this, and I'm not saying he's a bad play, but Cam Johnson hasn't really been playing all that well.
That's an understatement.
He's a value play, but yeah, he hasn't been, even for his price, really putting up the numbers. I'd rather go to somebody like Pat Connaughton or Kleba for that price. But I do like Chris Paul, 7,700 on DraftKings. I don't think he's going to struggle in a Game 7 at home. I have a hard time believing that, even though he has been struggling of late. So I definitely like Chris Paul. He's a little bit cheaper than Holiday and Booker, obviously, and Jaylen Brown. And then, like I said, Devin Booker is my third favorite play on the slate behind Giannis and Luka. So I really like Devin Booker. He went 0 for 4 from 3, had an 8 turnover game last game. I think he's going to bounce back in a big way and have his best game of the series. So
I hope you're wrong, but you may be right. I'll tell you, though, I thought of all the games in the series, Phoenix looked totally discombobulated in that Game 6. Dallas just really destroyed them. And I know Phoenix is really going to come out here fired up and really angry at that last game. But let's face the facts. Dallas's defense has been a bear to them.
Yeah.
And Reggie Bullock has agitated the hell out of Chris Paul. He had 4 assists and 5 turnovers. So you could look months and months and months of statistics for Chris Paul. And for his turnover ratio to be higher than his assist ratio, people aren't talking about it that much. But Paul has been just totally stymied in this series. Now, I'm not saying that to jinx myself that he's going to go berserk. It's a Game 7. He's a veteran. But you know what? It's a Game 7. He's 37 years old. He's been dogged this whole time. I don't know how fresh he is. So I'm not going Chris Paul. I'd much rather go Drew Holiday. The guy that I'm terrified of is Devin Booker. I agree with you. He is an assassin, that guy. And he got 17 shots up. I think he gets up 25 shots in this game. He's my favorite son. I think he's going to make multiple threes that may come up in our prize picks call after going over. And he's been more active with the peripherals as well. So he's the key guy. Obviously, Mikal Bridges has been a pretty hellacious offensive slump. He had the one good game, but I'm not super confident there. Jay Crowder, he's playing really hurt, but he's gutsy, so he's playing. So it makes it hard to go to him. I guess the key factor here is DeAndre Ayton. I think he'll, and I've said it every game, he's the difference maker, I think, in this series. He did get 16 shots up, 10 for 16 with 11 rebounds. That's the guy that can really burst the bubble for the Mavericks. If they do focus on getting him the ball, he could easily have 25, 28 real points, 12, 14 rebounds. But, with Ayton, you don't always know what you're going to get. But he's the guy at center that I'm leaning towards just because I think he could be dominant. He did get over 30 minutes now, which is great. And for some bizarre reason, I don't know what he did, but JaVale McGee is in Monty's doghouse. He didn't even get in.
I know.
So you've got Bismack Biyombo as the only backup center, basically, if you're going to play anybody here. You got 15 minutes. But I think they go longer with Ayton than they normally do, being that it's an elimination game. Biyombo, if you want to, as a flyer, last guy in, if you're trying Giannis and Luka lineups, I get it. Landry Shamet, same thing as the backup point guard to Paul, got 17 minutes. But I've given up on Cam, and I don't think Bridges, Crowder are the right plays. For me, it's buy up for Booker and Ayton, fade Paul, and maybe as a cheap play in desperation mode, a Shamet or Biyombo. But that's it for me on the Suns.
Okay. I like Ayton over Al Horford. I think that he's probably 6,900 on FanDuel, so he's cheaper there, and he's also cheaper on DraftKings. So I like Ayton more. And then I do like Bridges a little bit. He's had some decent games in this series, so I like him a little bit. 5,500 on DraftKings. I like that price for him.
It is a good price.
Yeah, Cam Johnson, I'm with you there. And Jay Crowder's, kind of faded out of this series of late, so I'm not as high on him. And then Biombo, I mean, he's 3K on DraftKings, so it's kind of a, free square. So
It's probably the way you have to go if you're going to the Luker. He could be if you really want to make it work. You may have to go to a few of those reach guys and hope that they can perform because Biombo's no sure thing. But if he gets 18 minutes somehow, or let's say Ayton gets in foul trouble, I mean, that could be a key factor. But I don't think it's wrong to play Ayton and Biombo, by the way, either. If you really are trying to make it work, it's not ideal, but I think you can at least try if you needed to. All right, Chief. What else? Prizepicks.
Yep.
Prizepicks NBA.
How many are we doing here? Because I've got 3.
Let's mention, first of all, you want to tell them that taco give. It's not even a taco. It's just
it's a free square is what it is.
It's a free, 100% free square.
Yeah. Free up to $25 in entry fees that you can use on it. It's 0.5 points for Luka Doncic, which he'll do in the first minute of the game. So
yeah, I mean it's literally a free square, but again, $25 max. But hey, free money's good money in my book.
Exactly.
So play that for sure. You want to give your first Prizepicks play?
Yeah, my first Prizepicks play is going to be Grayson Allen under 13.5 fantasy score. I know this is the one that got me that bet, but he's gone under this number in 4 of the last 5 games. He only had 7 fantasy points in game 6. I think he'll see his minutes reduce more in this game. Played a series low 22 minutes in game 6. I also think, like I said before, he's going to be moved to the bench. So I think Connaughton's going to get all those minutes. So I like that under at 13.5.
You have no idea how much joy that you picked that brings me. Just because of the weight that was on you with Grayson Allen for that.
Right.
That's hilarious. I love it. I am going to go with Luka Doncic over 9.5 rebounds. I think Luka gets a triple-double today.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't say he's going to get the 75 that we need, but I think he gets a triple-double today. I like him with over 9.5 rebounds.
Okay. My other play, because I'm pretty sure that I have the same play as you for the other plays. Like I said, I have 3 plays.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go with Jason Tatum over 48 fantasy score. I do think the Bucks are going to do a good, a better job slowing him down in this game, but I still think he's going to get 33 to 35 points, 5 to 7 rebounds, 4 to 6 assists, so I think he's going to be in the 55 area for fantasy score.
Excellent. This one breaks my heart, but again, you play DFS and Prizepicks with your brain, not your heart.
Yeah.
I'm taking Devin Booker over 27.5 real points.
Okay. So you didn't have the one that I thought you might. So.
I think Devin Booker's going to score over 30 in this game. And it hurts me to say so.
Yeah. So I've got Devin Booker over 2.5 3-pointers made.
I agree with that as well. And that was sort of what lent to this one. So I could tease it, but there you go.
Yep. He went 0 for 4 in the last game. Before that, he had 3, 3, 4, and 5 threes. And I think he's going to have that close to that Steph Curry type game with 6 to 7 in this game. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for my last one, this is going to be one of those scenarios where, again, it's painful, but it is what it is. The guy that I don't like, but the difference maker, I think, in this series, DeAndre Ayton, I'm going over points, rebounds, assists, 31.5. I just think it's the Ayton Booker show. Yeah. And not to say that the Mavs still can't pull it off, but those are the 2 guys that I think are going to be the tough stops for the Mavs. So I know all 3 of mine are from the same game. So mix and match with crashes, etc. But again, mine are Luka over 9.5 rebounds, Booker over 27.5 real points, and Ayton over 31.5 PRA. Do you want to review yours real quick?
Yep. Grayson Allen under 13.5 fantasy score. Jason Tatum over 48 fantasy score, and Devin Booker over 2.5 3-pointers made.
Fantastic. All right, we've done it. We've done our first MLB NBA dual podcast. It's an hour long, but you got both of them. It's all you need, everything you need for the entire day. So we hope that you've enjoyed this. Please give us some comments. Let you know if you like it. We'll get the timestamps on there so you don't have to fish around to find the NBA or MLB part of it.
Right.
And, give us a thumbs up here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little alert. Thank you to both of our sponsors for the two podcasts, Prizepicks and for BetUS.com.pa. So it's going to be a fun day of sports, Crash.
Yeah, hopefully we're not crying in our beers tonight, but
I hope not.
Yeah.
It would be spectacular if they both could win. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Well, enjoy all the fantastic sports. Come and join us. We'll be in Discord all day here getting ready for everything, following the weather in baseball, any news on Robert Williams for NBA. We'll follow everything right up until lock, all the beat writer and coach speak. So just go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up there. If you want to check us out on Twitter, we're at DFS Coach Talk. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, and I am at Joe Sarvati. All right, Crash, I appreciate you. This has been a real tester.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, and hopefully we have a fantastic Prizepicks DFS and our teams win, and we'll all be happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my man. Appreciate it. Everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll certainly be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA and MLB, Draftkings, FanDuel, Yahoo, and Prizepicks.